friends, a big loving welcome to our very own channel, Ammu&You, where I, Ammu, is always ready to narrate lovely stories to you. Stories come in all hues and shades of life, filling us with their beautiful, vibrant colors. Today, the story that I have for you is full of wit, irony, and humor. The story is The Luncheon, written by William Somerset Maugham. It's a story that exposes the pretensions of modest eating habits of the middle classes in the most humorous manner. It's very, very relatable, and at the end of the story, we are left with a smiling heart and a very, very warm feeling. So the story, The Luncheon. Somerset Maugham prefers his characters to speak for themselves. So he says, the author, I caught sight of her at the play, and in answer to her beckoning, I went over during the interval and sat down beside her. It was long since I had last seen her. Well, it's been years since we first met, she addressed me brightly. How time does fly. We're none of us getting any younger. Do you remember the first time I saw you? You asked me to luncheon. Did I remember? It was 20 years ago, and I was living in Paris. I had a tiny apartment in the Latin Quarter overlooking a cemetery, and I was earning barely enough money to keep body and soul together. She had read a book of mine and had written to me. I had written her back, thanking her. Presently, I received another letter from her saying that she was passing through Paris and would like to have chat with me, but her time was limited and only free moments that she had was following Thursday. She was spending the morning at the Luxembourg and would give time to me if I was ready to take her out to lunch at Foyot's. Now, Foyot's is a restaurant at which the French senators eat, and it was so far beyond my means that never even thought of going there. But like any man, I was flattered, and I was too young to have learned to say no to a woman. I had all of 80 gold francs, almost gold to me because that is all I had, 80 francs, to last me the rest of month. And I thought a modest luncheon should not cost more than 15. I also thought if I cut out coffee for the next 2 weeks, I could manage well enough. So I confirmed meeting my friend by correspondence at Foyot's on Thursday at 12:30. Right on time, I was expecting her, standing there outside Foyot's. She was not so young as I expected, and in appearance, rather imposing than attractive. She was a woman of 40, and she had teeth white and large and even. She was talkative, but since she seemed inclined to talk about me, I was prepared to be an attentive listener. I never eat anything for lunch, she said, as I was startled when the bill of fare was brought, for the prices I found were a great deal higher than I had anticipated. Oh, don't say that, I asked generously. No, I never eat more than one thing. I think people eat far too much nowadays. A little fish, perhaps. I wonder if they have any salmon. Well, it was early in the year for salmon, and it was not on bill of fare either. But I asked the waiter if there was yet any. Yes, a beautiful salmon had just come in. And the waiter asked her if she would have something while it was being cooked. No, she answered. I never eat more than a thing, unless you have a little caviare. My heart sank a little. I knew I could not afford caviare, but I could not very well tell her that. I told the waiter to get the caviare. And for myself, I chose the cheapest dish on the menu, that was a mutton chop. I think you are unwise to eat meat, she said. I don't know how you can expect to work after eating heavy things like chops. I don't believe in overloading my stomach, said she. Would you like to have anything for drink? I don't drink anything for luncheon, I answered promptly. She said, neither do I, except white wine. These French white wines are so light, they're wonderful for the digestion. She gave me a bright flash of her white teeth. Continuing, my doctor won't let me drink anything but champagne. I fancy I turned a trifle pale. I ordered half a bottle. I mentioned casually that my doctor had absolutely forbidden me to drink champagne. What would you drink then? Water. She ate the caviar and she ate the salmon. She talked gaily of art and literature and music. But I wondered what the bill would come to. When my mutton chop arrived, she took me quite seriously to task. I see that you're in the habit of eating a heavy luncheon. I'm sure it's a mistake. Why don't you follow my example and just eat one thing? I'm sure you'd feel ever so much better for it. I am only going to eat one thing, I said, as the waiter came again with the menu card. She waved him aside with an airy gesture. No, no, I never eat anything for luncheon. Just a bite. I never want more than that. And I eat that more as an excuse for conversation than anything else. I couldn't possibly eat anything more. Unless, of course, they had some of those giant asparagus. I should be sorry to leave Paris without having some of them. My heart sank. I had seen them in the shops and I knew that they were horribly expensive. My mouth had often watered at the sight of them. But now, Madam wants to know if you have any of those giant asparagus, I asked the waiter. I tried with all my might to will him to say no. A happy smile spread over his broad face, and he assured me that they had some so large, so splendid, so tender, that it was indeed a marvel. I'm not in the least hungry, my guest sighed, but if you insist, I don't mind having some asparagus. I ordered them. Aren't you going to have any? No, I never eat asparagus. I know there are people who don't like them. The fact is, you'd ruin your palate by all the meat you eat. Well, we waited for the asparagus to be cooked. Panic seized me. It was not a question now how much money I should have left over for the rest of the month, but whether I had enough to pay the bill. It would be mortifying to find myself 10 francs short and be obliged to borrow from my guest. I could not bring myself to do that. I knew exactly how much I had, and if the bill came to more, I made up my mind that I would put up my hand in my pocket and with a dramatic cry, start up and say it had been picked. Of course, it would be awkward if she had not enough either to pay a bill. Then the only thing would be to leave my watch and say I would be back to pick it later. The asparagus appeared. They were enormous, succulent, and appetizing. The smell of the melted butter tickled my nostrils as I watched the woman thrusting them down her throat in large, voluptuous mouthfuls. And in my polite way, I discoursed on the condition of the drama in the Balkans. At last she finished. Coffee? I said. I had to be the gentleman I thought I was. Yes, just an ice cream and coffee, she answered. I was past caring now, so I ordered coffee for myself and an ice cream and coffee for her. You know, there's one thing I thoroughly believe in, she said, as she ate the ice cream. One should always get up from a meal feeling one could eat a little more. Are you still hungry? I asked faintly. Oh no, I'm not hungry. You see, I don't eat luncheon. I have a cup of coffee in the morning and then dinner. I was speaking for you. Oh, I see. Then a terrible thing happened. As if it was not enough. While we were waiting for the coffee, the head waiter, with an ingratiating smile on his false face, came up to us bearing a large basket full of huge peaches. Sorry, they had the blush of an innocent girl. They had the rich tone of an Italian landscape. But surely peaches were not in season then. Lord knew what they cost. I knew too. A little later, for my guest, going on with her conversation, absent-mindedly took one. You see, you filled your stomach with a lot of meat, my one miserable little chop, and you can't eat any more. But I've just had a snack and I shall enjoy a peach. The bill came, and when I paid it, I found that I had only enough for a quite inadequate tip. Her eyes rested for an instant on the 3 francs I left for the waiter, and I knew that she thought me mean. But when I walked out of the restaurant, I had the whole month before me and not a penny in my pocket. Follow my example, she said as we shook hands, and never eat more than one thing for lunch. I'll do better than that, I retorted. I'll eat nothing for dinner tonight. Humorist, she cried gaily, jumping on the road and into a cab. You're quite a humorist. But I have had my revenge at last. I do believe that I am a vindictive man. But when the immortal gods take a hand in the matter, it is pardonable to observe the result with complacency. Today, she weighs 21 stone, and a stone is equal to 6.84 kgs. So the pleasure that I had on seeing her could not be described in any words. So much a relatable story, so much of pretentious behavior on the part of the woman, and the condition of the author of enacting a perfect gentleman. So this was Luncheon by Somerset Maugham. I hope you've liked the story. If you have, then kindly like, share, subscribe, and press the bell icon to get all the informations about our channel. Thank you so much for watching the videos and listening to my story. And of course, thank you for all the wonderful comments and words of encouragement that I get from you. I'll come back again soon with another story to narrate to you. Till then, stay safe, stay happy. Bye-bye.